My husband and I went into the store to do some regular shopping. As we were approaching the checkout, something totally unexpected happened. We were just minding our own business, pushing the cart, when I noticed a woman and her young son, maybe about 5 or 6 years old, in the aisle next to us. They were looking at the toys. The little boy was holding a small, brightly colored car, and his eyes were just lit up with pure joy. You could tell he absolutely loved it. He was showing it to his mom, his voice full of excitement, talking about all the cool things the car could do. His mom, however, looked really stressed. She was trying to explain to him, very gently, that they couldn't buy the toy today. She kept saying things like, "Maybe for your birthday, sweetie, and we have to be careful with our money right now. But you know how kids are." The little boy's face started to crumple. The excitement drained away and was replaced with this look of deep disappointment. He clutched the toy car tighter, his bottom lip trembling. He wasn't throwing a tantrum or anything, just genuinely sad. It was one of those moments that just pulls at your heartstrings. My husband caught my eye, and I could see he felt it too. We've been there. We know what it's like to have to say no to something your kid desperately wants, not because you don't want to give it to them, but because you simply can't. It's a heavy feeling. We watched for another moment as the mom knelt down, trying to console him, her own face etched with a mix of love and sadness. We finished putting our items on the conveyor belt and paid. As we were walking out, my husband stopped. He looked back towards the toy aisle and then at me. He didn't even have to say anything. I just nodded. We both knew what we wanted to do. It wasn't about being heroes or anything like that. It was just a small thing. A simple gesture that we knew might make a difference in that little boy's day, and maybe his mom's too. So, my husband turned around and walked back into the store. I waited for him by the entrance with our cart. A few minutes later, he came back out, holding that exact same little toy car. He had a quiet smile on his face. He told me he'd gone back to the toy aisle, and the mom and son were still there. The boy was putting the car back on the shelf, his shoulders slumped. It was just heartbreaking. My husband walked up to them and said something like, "Excuse me, I think you dropped this." The mom looked confused and said, "Oh no, that's not ours. We were just looking." Then my husband smiled and held the car out to the little boy. He said, "Well, it looks like it really wants to go home with you. My wife and I wanted you to have it." The little boy's eyes went wide. He looked from the car to my husband, then to his mom, as if asking for permission. His mom was completely taken aback. She started to protest, saying, "Oh no, you don't have to do that, we couldn't possibly accept." But my husband was insistent. He said, "Please, it would make us really happy. It's just a little something." He placed the car into the boy's hands. The change in that little boy's expression was instantaneous. It was like a switch had been flipped. The sadness vanished, replaced by pure, unadulterated joy. He hugged the car to his chest, and gave my husband the biggest, most radiant smile I have ever seen. He then turned to his mom and shouted, "Mommy, look. The nice man gave me the car." The mom was tearing up. She kept saying thank you, over and over again. She looked at us with such gratitude, it was overwhelming. She explained that things had been really tough for them lately and that this small act of kindness meant more to her than we could ever know. It wasn't just about the toy. It was about the fact that a stranger cared. It was a reminder that there's still good in the world, even when things feel dark. We chatted for a few more minutes. She told us her name and her son's name. We learned a little bit about their situation, nothing too detailed, but enough to understand the struggle she was facing as a single parent trying to make ends meet. It really put our own lives into perspective. We have our own challenges, of course, everyone does, but in that moment, we felt incredibly fortunate. As we said our goodbyes, the little boy ran up and gave my husband a quick hug around his legs. "Thank you, mister," he said, his voice muffled by my husband's pants. That was it. That was the moment that made it all worth it. My husband just patted his head and said, "You're welcome, buddy. You enjoy that car." Walking back to our car in the parking lot, my husband and I were both pretty quiet. We didn't need to talk about it much. We just shared this look, a look of understanding and shared emotion. It was such a simple act. The toy car probably cost less than $10. It was an impulse, a spur-of-the-moment decision. But the impact it had was immeasurable. It wasn't about the money. It was about seeing a person in a tough spot and doing something, anything, to help lighten their load, even for a moment. It reminded me how powerful a small act of kindness can be. You never know what someone else is going through. A simple smile, a kind word, or, in this case, a small toy car, can completely change someone's day. Later that evening, my husband and I were talking about it. He said, seeing the look on that little boy's face was better than any gift he could have received, and I agreed. It gave us this warm feeling that lasted for days. It was a beautiful reminder that we are all connected, and that we have the power to make a positive impact on each other's lives, often in the simplest of ways. You don't have to have a lot of money or do something grand to make a difference. Sometimes, it's the smallest gestures that have the biggest ripple effect. That day in the store, we didn't just buy a toy for a little boy. We shared a moment of human connection. We gave a struggling mom a reason to smile and a little bit of hope. And in return, we received a gift far more valuable: the profound joy of giving. That experience really stuck with us. It's a story we tell often, not to pat ourselves on the back, but as a reminder. A reminder to be aware of the people around us. A reminder to be kind, always. Because you truly never know how much a small act of kindness can mean to someone. It can turn a bad day into a good one. It can restore faith. It can be a light in the darkness. So, I wanted to share this story with you all. Maybe it will inspire you to look for opportunities to spread a little kindness in your own life. It doesn't have to be big. Pay for the coffee of the person behind you in line. Give a genuine compliment to a stranger. Or maybe, just maybe, buy a small toy car for a little kid who looks like he needs a win. The feeling you get in return is absolutely priceless. Thank you so much for listening to my story. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more. See you in the next one.